2 has entered the podcast.
Welcome back, people, to Player 2 has entered the podcast. That podcast about video games, nerd stuff, and two friends catching up for the week. I am your co-host, Michael, aka MC Paperstacks, and with me, as always, is my co-host with the co-most,
Derek, aka Full Metal Merc, and we're back for another episode. It might be a short one this week because there's not a lot to talk about, but we're gonna try and give you a little bit of content for the holidays.
Yeah, also it's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve, my friend.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Hey! And we're also doing something unique that we have never done on any previous episode. We're giving it to you raw.
Ooh, baby, they like it raw.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yeah.
Like it raw, baby.
Basically, I'm not editing this, which this could get us in a lot of trouble. I'm not editing this episode at all because my editing day would be Christmas, and I think that's time better spent with family. So if you hear a few more ums and uhs, maybe some more dead
some
space,
sniffles.
You finally, some.
Yeah, so
Please don't do that. Please don't do. I'll probably go through and make sure that we don't peak the mic, but. Yeah, you'll finally get the speaking cadence of the two of us. I often listen back after I edit, and it kind of sounds like I interrupt you sometimes, and I think that people don't know that we both kind of let our thoughts drift off. So You'll hear all the mistakes that I make in real time, and you'll be able to hear all of our quirky mouth sounds. Isn't that nice?
And maybe, I don't know, maybe they like it, and you like it, and sounds good, you know?
Yeah,
I listened.
It would save
when
me
I
4 hours every second.
Yeah, when I listen to Gamer Friends, it doesn't seem like they edit.
Oh, they do.
They do?
Oh, yeah.
It's done excellent then. Because it seems like it's just straight through conversation.
I don't know if they do it as anal retentively as I do, but Cedric is, he's called Audio Nerd for a reason. He cleans those episodes up real nice. We sounded great when we guested on their show. So
yeah.
I've
been listening to their episodes a lot lately. And
they
they shout us out so much, and I love it.
Yeah, and we shout them out. I'm not lying. It's legit, aside from our show, obviously. it's legit my favorite video game podcast. So if you haven't listened to Gamer Friends, you should. Definitely, especially if you enjoy this show. I think you would enjoy their show as well.
They are your gamer friends.
Gamer friends. Feel free to clip that and use that if you want, guys. It's all good. Anyways, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So I have a correction I need to make from a previous episode.
Uh-oh. Fucking up.
I know. Well, here we go. If you recall, we were talking about Strider. I think it was when the Retro Runner was on. I can't remember exactly.
Probably.
Yeah. And I had mentioned that I thought that the newer version of Strider was on 360 PS3. The newer Strider is actually on PlayStation 4 and Xbone.
Oh.
And it's usually $15, but right now, at least on the PlayStation side, maybe on the Xbox side too, it's on sale for $3 until the 20th of January. Ooh. And it's got a lot of 70 and 80% out there as far as reviews. It's a decent game. Mm-hmm. So if you're at all interested, there you go. There's some corrected information for you.
Strider action.
It's out there. It's available. It's recent. All right. There we go. Right. Speaking of out there and available, the last episode of Hawkeye dropped this week. And we didn't even talk about episode 5. It's all running together for me. Can I just make an aside and say, too much shit to watch this week?
Yeah.
This week there was The Matrix, The Witcher, Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man technically came out. It was this week for me.
Yeah, right.
The Hawkeye finale. Too much stuff.
Boba Fett comes out in 5 days.
Shut up. Get out.
Yeah, Book of Boba Fett is about to come out.
Okay. But Hawkeye, I don't know if we want to get into super spoilery, or we can just kind of go light. What were your overall thoughts now that you can look at the show as a whole?
Overall, I loved it.
Okay.
Probably my favorite show out of the bunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just the stakes weren't too high. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of because a lot of these MCU shows seem like they're not going to affect the movie universe so much. What?
Shit. Jonathan Majors showing up in Loki? Shit.
Well, I mean, but think about
Wanda going off think
about WandaVision, like the show, the actual what happened during the show.
Yeah.
Like in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer, he shows up and she's like, oh, I fucked up. He's like, yeah, but I'm not here to talk to you about that. Basically, it's like, yeah, we're not fucking talking about that.
But why is he there? Because he's in some multiverse trouble.
Because he needs help.
And now she's got that book and them powers and thing.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Captain America is Falcon and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Even though that wasn't like the best one out of the bunch. It's got its problems. But,
yeah.
I mean...
That's just how I feel. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. But as of right now, I'm like,
I don't know, man. I don't think the facts ring true with your feelings, to coin a phrase from a particularly notable douchebag. But I understand how you feel, but I'm pretty sure even What If, I mean, if you look at the teaser trailer for the Multiverse of Madness, What If kind of now needs to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the same character.
I mean,
it's probably not. Seeing where that character ended up in the show.
And also, What If ended with spoilers for the next like 5 seconds if you haven't seen What If. What If ended with multiverse bullshit.
Right.
Okay.
Which is like what all these shows are kind of ending with.
Yeah, which is why they're all tied together, which means they affect
No, I understand that, but it's like, it's getting to the point where whose fault is this? Is it Wanda's fault? Is it Loki's fault? Is it Doctor Strange's fault? It's like all this multiversal timeline bullshit is happening.
Well, it's all leading to Secret Wars. You know it is. Because they're going to have to like put the kibosh on it and stop it from happening in the future. And that's where that culminates. But whatever, I'm along for the ride and I'm having a great time. I think it's interesting that you say Hawkeye is your favorite one. I think for me, it's still going to be WandaVision. I thought it was a little, not bad, but dissonant that spoilers for the season finale of Hawkeye. Skip ahead to the next story if you don't want to hear about it. I thought it was a little dissonant that Wilson Fisk showed up and it was the same Kingpin from the Deadpool. It was, that's the part I would cut. It's the same Kingpin from the Daredevil universe, Vincent D'Onofrio, and he's scary. Did you notice, though, that they added in heavier footsteps and a deeper voice for when he spoke? Like they made him, and he's ripping off car doors now.
He's got powers.
Yeah, right? The only thing I didn't really jive with was how he was tossing Kate Bishop around that toy shop, and she didn't break a single rib or cough up any blood.
Oh, right.
In fact, she sauntered around to the car like, "Hey, Mom, how you doing? You feeling good? I just defeated the Kingpin by myself. No big deal."
Right.
Was it no big deal? Was it? And then also the dissonance with how violent he is and like knowing that and then like what he's capable of, but then going, he's not going to do any of that in this show though.
Yeah. And I like, granted it's the same actor.
Yeah.
But I believe it's just a soft reboot of the character. They're just everybody loves the actor. So we're going to bring him in. And he's amazing. I was thrown off when he was doing the same voice because I thought they were going to change his voice up.
No. And I'm glad that, because I think that would have been too much. I'm glad that he's the same dude. And we all kind of have it in the background of our mind that, like, he will get his hands dirty. He will murder you with a car door if he needs to.
Think about what you're saying.
And Vanessa, you cannot quit like this is Goldman Sachs.
It's a long trip. I'll need a snack. For those of you that don't know, Vincent D'Onofrio is the Roach from Men in Black.
Yeah, one of his better roles. I mean, he's amazing. Go back and find a movie he's not good in. I dare you. Yeah. Seriously.
He's good in Godfather of Harlem.
He's amazing in Full Metal Jacket. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
But yeah.
Overall, I really enjoyed Hawkeye 2. That fucking full-length musical, or I guess
I loved it. I loved it.
God.
Know the magic word. And hope you know the magic word is. Hope you know the magic word is. Smash. I just love how Ant-Man was there and he was not.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. My son goes, "Where's Spider-Man?" And I was like, "Son, my son's got critiques." And I was gonna go, he wasn't there, but then Ant-Man wasn't either. So I was like, "Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
where's Spider-Man?"
Yeah, but Hawkeye is a great show. The comedy was good. The action after episode 1. I say starting at episode 3, the action scenes were pretty dope.
It picked up, yeah.
And I really love the scene where they're making the trick arrows.
Yeah, it was fun.
And yeah,
you got to see the Pym particle reference. That's how that big arrow was made. And of course, they did some more Pym stuff and the Stark arrows. Good stuff. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Although, where did all those tracksuits come from?
There were so many.
There were millions of them.
There were so many, though. It got a little silly. I mean, these are comic book shows. I go back and forth on how real they actually need to be. But it was fun. It was Christmassy. It was released at the perfect time. I really enjoyed it. So I think from both of us, a highly recommend for the Hawkeye. Yeah.
And my last critique is, are the tracksuits the only group of gangsters that the Kingpin is over? Because it just seems like they're a bunch of bumbling idiots.
Well, you see, Full Metal Mark.
Right.
After the snap, I had to recorporatize and downsize and upsize, and I had to. I'm running out of words here.
Yeah. Giganticize and bigabize.
I had to restructure. That's what I'm looking for.
I was just like, so Kingpin is in it, great.
Yeah.
But the tracksuit mafia is his goons?
I know.
Or his goons?
I know. It's like
Okay.
I'm trying to find a good metaphor, but it's like pairing up, I don't know, Jigsaw from Saw and giving him the goons from, I don't know, like a Disney Pixar film or something. Like they just don't match. Like Minions,
like
giving him Minions.
Yeah, giving him
Give Jigsaw some Minions. Let's play a game.
Banana?
Yes.
Right.
Banana game.
All
All right, moving on. So we both, at this point, we have both seen Spider-Man No Way Home, and we are thwip. We are not going to spoil it or talk about anything that happens in it that could be considered even remotely a spoiler, other than I loved it, and I would recommend, and I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, but I would recommend going back and watching any of the previous Spider-Man films that you didn't see. Honestly, going back and showing them to Kristen, because I had never watched the Amazing Spider-Man films all the way. I think I saw like a good chunk of one. And I hadn't seen the Raimi films in a while. And man, did I have fun watching Spider-Man 3. Put a pin in that. But I would recommend watching them before you go into this, because I really do think it enhances the experience. Do I think it's required? No, but there are so many beats, and okay. I'm not going to stop talking because, again, if I say any more, I feel like I'm entering spoiler territory. Speaking of, spoilercast. We had discussed maybe on or offline, I can't remember, maybe both.
It was off.
It was offline, potentially doing a spoiler cast for No Way Home, and I think we are, but our friends over at Call It Like I Don't See It, our other favorite podcast, are planning on doing their own spoiler cast to kind of bridge the gap between the most previous season they just ended and their new season, and they invited us along for the ride. So, if you're interested in hearing our thoughts on Spider-Man No Way Home, we will be discussing them in a spoiler cast with GP and AD of Call It Like I Don't See It, and once that releases, you guys who follow us on social media will be the first to know.
Sweet. Can't wait.
I can't wait either. Now, oh my God. So I watched Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. I have the original film collection, the Blu-ray that you could get, and I got the digital copies. I watched the extended edition of Spider-Man 2, and I saw, there were some scenes that were extended here and there, and I'm like, I get why they cut that. I saw one scene in particular that I had never seen in my entire life, and I laughed so hard. Have you ever seen J. Jonah Jameson in an extra scene after they turned in Spider-Man's suit to him in Spider-Man 2?
Oh, where he's wearing the suit and he's
wearing the suit.
Yeah.
He's wearing the suit. It was kind of out of character for him, but it was so funny. Like, I didn't care. I laughed my ass off. I get why they cut it because it's out of character, but it was so good.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man 3, just overall, my wife really liked it, and I think it's because we were having so much fun watching it. And I tried to explain to her why at the time people were upset. Sam Raimi's, fundamental misunderstanding of Venom as a character.
Yeah.
How he kind of had to cram him in to appease the studio, that whole drama, and how, it was more cornball if you compare it apples to Spider-Man 2, especially the end scene with that anchor woman just being like, how is Spider-Man going to get out of this pickle?
Right.
We don't know. It was just a little bit too much. But that said, knowing all that going in, Spider-Man 3 was a blast. I was laughing so hard when he like fully embraced the black suit and he was out there just like finger guns at the ladies. I died. Good. Oh my god. Oh my god. So worth revisiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
Yep. I'm sorry, you were gonna say?
We can continue on. I can talk about it during I just got some news and we can talk about it during what we're playing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Very exciting news.
Ooh. My live reaction to the exciting news.
Ooh, yeah.
I love it. All right, well, speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into what we're playing this week then. What do you got going on this past week, Derek, in the world of video and games?
So literally everything that I've played this week was on Game Pass, which is hilarious.
Get your money's worth, dude.
Yeah, I hadn't turned my Xbox on in probably a couple weeks. Because what was I playing before? Shin Megami Tensei. Anyway, I decided to try out Dodgeball Academia. It's a cute little animated dodgeball RPG where you're like, oh, I want to be the best dodgeball player. And it's got a real anime aspect to it. But the gameplay is actually really fun.
Oh, good.
And like,
would you say it's like a kind of like a story based, not maybe an RPG? I don't know, but similar to Golf Story.
I didn't play Golf Story, but from what you told me about it, I would say yes, because
interesting.
I mean, it is story based, and you do go around collecting like members to be on your team. You level up,
so it's like my Dodgeball Academia.
Yeah, exactly. and like when you hit somebody with the dodge, you have health, like HP. Okay. When you hit somebody with a dodgeball, the HP goes down. There are special dodgeball, like special throws you can do. You can catch
You have me interested, because when I saw it, to me, it just reminded me of Super Dodgeball, like the Kunio-kun game, which is cool, but I've played it. Once you've played Super Dodgeball, you don't really need to play another version of it. Right. But this sounds a lot more robust than I was expecting.
Yeah, and I like skipped all the dialogue and cutscenes and everything. I was like, just give me the dodgeball. And from what I played, I liked it. So who knows if I'll continue playing it. But next game, My Friend Pedro. I've seen this game advertised for a very long time. It's basically like a 2D shoot 'em up.
Yeah,
and
it's got action.
It's got the Max Payne bullet time stuff going on, and you can have two guns and aim in two different directions and lock on to two. It's pretty dope.
Little John Woo. Some doves
it's pretty dope. So I suggest trying that out if you're into that type of game. So the news. I've been playing a lot of, Nora's been playing a lot of Paw Patrol Mighty Pups Save Adventure Bay.
Just blasted right past My Friend Pedro to get to this news. I'm so excited to hear what it is.
No. And literally, so we had another Paw Patrol game that was just a side-scroller. And like earlier this year, she would play it and she would have trouble with it. This is a fully 3D game. And she's like literally moving the character around, collecting all the pickups, doing all the commands that I ask her to do without much help. Like, we're just like, look at the screen. What is it telling you to do? And she looks at the controller and then she does it. And Vicky just texts me and says that she just beat the game.
Hey, go
and
Nora.
I'm like, what? Because
Nora beat Paw Patrol, Mighty Pups Save Adventure Bay.
I'm like, this is her first video game that she's beaten.
That's all. That's momentous.
I know. And I'm over here getting like Xbox gamer score like notifications.
Oh yeah.
Like,
is she gonna complete it?
I was like, sweet, right? She could probably. I was like, sweet, she got an achievement.
Nice.
Cool, another achievement. And then Vicky texts me, Nora just beat her first game. She wrote credits. I was like,
adorable.
Oh no, I missed it.
You missed. That's right. You weren't around for it. What kind of gamer dad?
I was in the other room
recording
doing a gaming podcast.
That I'm sure she'll lovingly listen to in the future years ahead.
But yeah, I'm so proud of you, Nora.
Oh, I'm proud of you,
got a little
Nora.
gamer on our hands. Oh my goodness.
Good job.
It's so crazy. Like just a few months ago, she could barely hold the controller correctly, and now she beat a game. I will say more about this game. You know, it's a 3D adventure game. Basically, you collect power-ups and collectibles. And for if you have young children, like around 4, 5, 6, this is the perfect game for them.
Paw Patrol's on Game Pass?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So it's the perfect game for them because the kids, they cannot fail.
Okay.
Like there's sections where you have to like fly around a sky or drive a snowmobile as whatever the snow dog's name is. And like you can run into stuff and it'll like hit you with an X.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you hit that thing. But it doesn't like if you hit so many things, then you fail and then you have to start over. It's just like, no, you're just going to keep going. You're going to keep getting better at it eventually. And you still get to cross the finish line.
Cool.
So that is what was really cool to me. I was like, wow, a game she could play. It doesn't feel like she has to be amazingly good at it.
Right. Yeah, I kind of want to download that. trying to play Luigi's Mansion 3 like broke Ben's heart. Because
Yeah,
the controller
no,
is so complicated.
this is something.
The controls,
Yeah, this will be something that's really simple, and they put the like controls really big on the screen for you to see when there's like quick time events you have to do, and it's a good way to get them associated with the controller, like for sure.
Okay,
so I really love it.
High praise.
I'm so proud of my baby.
Paw Patrol. I'm proud of Nora too. That's great, man. That's great.
Let's see. The next game, been on my list for a long time to play, Firewatch. It's basically a walking simulator. You play as a guy who, and I didn't know, actually, I'm not even going to spoil the story.
Okay.
Basically, a guy ends up becoming not a park ranger, but a caretaker for a reserve or whatever.
Yeah, like a national park or something.
Yeah, like somewhere in Wyoming or whatever.
Okay.
But I know there's supposed to be some sort of mystery behind it, but it's basically a walking simulator. What really got me was the dialogue and the story setup. And I was like, fuck, this is deep.
Yeah. Good writing, huh?
Yeah, I was like, this is really deep. And then the dialogue between him and his handler basically is really good. And it's really just fun to go around and explore stuff, and you can clean up trash. And you have an actual map that you pull out to see where you're going. And it's really cool. And much like what is that one game? What Remains of Edith Finch? It's just got a real nice hook to it, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
You have me intrigued. So how long have you been playing it?
I played it for about an hour.
Okay.
But I think it's only like a 4-hour game or something like that.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, those types of games usually are, which is perfect. I love being able to kind of encapsulate that kind of experience, like in a weekend or something. So
yeah, I'm hoping to beat that by the end of the year because I've been playing a lot of stuff that's really short. Next game, Whatcha and Wonder Labyrinth. I believe we talked about this before, but
yeah, the Retro Runner brought it up. He's been playing it on PC, right?
It continues to remain awesome.
Good.
It continues to remind me that I'm not really that good at
Metroidvanias
like that. I'm sure I can like get through it or whatever, but it's just the constant backtracking of some stuff.
Really, because I felt like I've been playing Whatcha too, because it dropped on Game Pass when it dropped on consoles on the 16th, and I noticed that I wasn't getting lost as much, say, as I was in Metroid Dread. And that the map system, everything was clearly marked. You know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't over-explain some of the aspects. You and I were talking offline about the whole, okay, how do you know when you unlock the certain color doors? Like, how does that work? But once you figure that part out, it didn't seem too bad. But then again, I might not be as far as you are.
Yeah, well, you actually have to really look at that map, too. Because there was a very small open block area that I had been missing, and I was like, oh, okay, so I got that slide ability. Now I can slide through there. Yeah. And that's the only place that you can slide through to get to the next area. So it's just stuff like that. Yeah. But it's still dope. And again, I think we said it last week, like it looks exactly like
we Symphony of the Night. Keep thinking that that our offline conversations are a part of last week's episode. You have never spoken about playing Whatcha.
Okay, well, Whatcha is a Metroidvania modeled after Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it's beautiful.
Based off Record of Lodoss War, the anime.
Yes, exactly. And the character walks exactly like Alucard walks.
Oh my god, the animation is like someone at Konami should be like suing somebody.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
It's very lovingly put together, though. I like it.
Yeah, no, the bestiary area is actually very big. I was surprised at the number of monsters and equipment you can get in that game. And what I thought was really cool is very early on, you have like two quasi like fairy familiars. The first one you get seems to be kind of water aligned or air aligned. Maybe it's air, and allows you to float indefinitely up to a certain height above the ground as long as there's ground below you. Yeah. Which actually plays in the gameplay quite a bit. It's pretty good. And the other one is fire-based, and the two fairies will affect your attacks, but also the type of damage that you can take, a la Ikaruga, which really plays into the boss's attacks and seeing like what attacks they're going to queue up so you can switch to the right fairy. Also, defeating a certain number of enemies with the opposite fairy powers up the other one, and then when you switch to it, you can start to heal until you take damage, and then you'll have to start that cycle over. There's a lot of integration in game mechanics that really flow into frantic gameplay based on those fairies. And I thought it was really cool. That room you walk through that has like the magic coming down and they're moving in waves. Yeah. You have to constantly switch back and forth between the two to traverse the room safely. And I just love shit like that. So,
Yeah.
very cool.
Very creative.
Yep.
And the final game that we both played, and I actually beat this game the same night that I started playing it, was The Gunk. The Gunk. We want the gunk. Gotta have the gunk.
Ow, we need the gunk.
I spent so much time playing that game, making up songs and replacing words with gunk.
She's gunk. She's gunk. She's gunk. She's in my head.
Exactly. And it made the game infinitely more fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But you play as a African-American female, which was cool. I was like, okay,
her name
cool.
is Raji or Ronnie.
I
think it's
forget
Ronnie because I kept going, "Shy Ronnie, speak up." Her name is Ronnie.
Yeah, and you play as her, and she has like this mechanical arm because she lost her arm in some sort of job that she was on, and it can absorb this gunk type presence that you find on this planet with your partner. And basically, when you suck up all the gunk in the area, it heals the area. All the greenery comes back, and it destroys barriers that block your path. And it's basically just a 3D platformer with mild combat elements. Very mild.
Yeah, it's definitely, the focus is definitely more on traversal, exploration, and kind of the drip feed of the decent story, actually. I enjoyed it. And I it's one of those games, and this gets lost in the shuffle because I feel like that this type of element of a game that the gunk features full in front of you is kind of just a sliver of a vertical slice of many other games, the exploration. But because they focus on exploration and you're on this alien planet and you're learning as you go, and you have that little scanner so you can scan all the different things. They really have time to make it look interesting and the environment to be fun and work on environmental puzzles. And it's just a joy to go through from start to finish. Sometimes platformers and games that focus on exploration or traversal don't really flesh that part out enough because they lean on other mechanics. And in this one, since that's like the core thing, it really does feel enjoyable just to walk from the beginning of the game to the end, exploring as you go. I didn't find myself wanting to put it down or getting bored even once. It was one of those games where from start to finish, the only reason why I put it down is because life, not because I was like, okay, I'm done for the day. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't even turn it off, I don't think.
Yeah, you just played it all in one setting.
Yeah,
it's about, how long did you say? How long did you say it was? 4 to 6 hours?
Just under 4 hours.
Just under 4 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. So I 100%ed it, so I think it may have took me a little bit longer.
Okay.
You know how I do.
Right. It was decent though. So if you have Game Pass and you want just a little slice of some exploration gameplay, then I suggest checking it out.
Yeah,
no, baby.
It's a great game, and I want people to download and play it because I want Xbox to know, and I want game developers to know that we like this type of thing when it's done right. So, completely agree.
Oh, yeah.
I got 2 more games.
All right.
Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I did advance the story a little more. I caught a Dialga today.
Nice.
So I already had one because somebody traded me a shiny one.
Yeah.
And I got a timid nature too, which means that you sacrifice attack for speed. And since I feel like it's best attacks or special attack, that's like the perfect nature I could have gotten for that particular Pokemon. So just a nice little bonus, I guess. And again, I mean, it's Pokemon. I think I've pretty much exhausted all of my thoughts on that game at this point.
Yeah.
And I also picked back up because I had played it a little bit a while back and I talked about it. But Dragon Quest Builders 2, it's still on Game Pass.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I picked it back up, and then I'm absorbed. I can't stop playing it now. I love that game.
Sweet.
There are a lot of improvements from the previous game, but it does take a while to get to them. Just like if you ever played the original Dragon Quest Builders, you feel like the first world that you go to is going to be the world that you stay in, but then you quickly figure out as you go through the motions that, like, this is wrapping up pretty quickly. Yeah. And then it kind of moves you to the next island and the next island, and then you progressively get more and more things to build. And it's kind of like almost through gameplay tutorializing you to think bigger and bigger with what you can do as a builder. This seems to be following the same track. But there are a lot more things that I'm unlocking, ways to break down the environment faster, build faster, have other people build blueprints for me. I just recently probably dozens of hours into the game, got like a glider thing a la Breath of the Wild. So if I'm on a mountaintop, I don't have to try to precariously find my way down. I can just float.
Nice.
And that helps me go from island to island if there's a bunch of ocean in between. And I think I said this before on a previous episode when I first played it, but you got that helper, Malroth, who will try to get ingredients. If you're trying to get ingredients, will fight monsters when you're fighting monsters, which is a huge help.
Yeah.
And it's just a good time. Even if you're not creative and you feel like you don't want to like uniquely build a bunch of stuff, just going through it and following the directions or making like little simple buildings here and there, it's amazing. And I kind of fall in between. Sometimes I'll get an idea in my head that I don't need to do to progress the gameplay, and then I'll spend the next 2 hours doing that. Like at one point I noticed that monsters kept attacking the base. So I went to an island where I found a bunch of flagstone, which I couldn't build from stone yet, but I know that monsters can't break. And I just spent maybe an hour or two breaking down this old decrepit castle and just pocketing all the flagstone. And then I transported back to my farm and I built like a flagstone wall around the perimeter of my farm. And then I built like stairs and stuff so we could go out of the farm, but people can't get back in. And so when the monsters go to attack, I don't have to immediately go address that before they start damaging my farm. I can leisurely go over there when I'm good and ready.
Yeah, that's dope.
So yeah, stuff like that. Or I'll notice that there's too many people waiting in line for the bathroom that I built, so I decide to build like make 3 or 4 more. So there's stuff like that. Which in case they actually have you collect the stuff from the bathroom pots, they call it night soil. And you can use that to make a poison weapon that can do instant kills to enemies. And I'm like,
a lot of Death Stranding.
Yeah, weapon covered in poop probably could insta kill you. I'll buy it.
You gotta rub poof on those sticks. Poof. You gotta rub poop on those sticks to make
them go
sick.
poof.
Gotta make those wounds sick, baby.
Yeah, gotta give them dysentery. Dysentery's been killing people in video games since before my time. That's the Oregon Trail, baby. Anyways, I think that runs us through all the games we played this week.
Yeah.
This might actually be a full-length episode, but I'm not editing it, people. I told you, I'm not. Christmas. So, here we go. Gaming news. Gaming news. All right. We'll run through these stories really quickly. I thought this was of note and really cool. You and I both love Hades.
Yeah.
Hades is still winning tons of awards. It got the top Xbox Metacritic award this year because it released on Xbox this year. And it was the first ever video game to win a Hugo Award for literary achievement. Now, if you're not familiar, the Hugo Award started in 1953. It's an annual literary award for best science fiction or fantasy works and achievements of the previous year. It's given at the World Science Fiction Convention and chosen by its members. It is widely considered the premier award in science fiction, and Hades inspired them to open up a motherfucking video game category. Like, that's cool.
Nice.
That's really cool. Last of Us 2 and a few other games I think were up for it, and I'm really glad that Hades got it. I think that's cool. And again, I think that the way that its story is interwoven in gameplay is really innovative and cool. We've talked about it to death, but neat.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I jumped back into Hades for a little bit because I still haven't beaten it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I accidentally went in with a sword when I meant to do the spear. But,
whoops.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Every run you get something. It's okay.
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus subscribers may recall back when the Final Fantasy VII Remake PlayStation 5 version came out, you could not upgrade your PlayStation Plus version of Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS4 to PS5. You had to buy it or own it in order to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, as of this week, people who got the game for free, quote unquote, on PlayStation Plus can upgrade it for free, quote unquote, to PlayStation 5.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the add-on starring Yuffie Intergrade is currently, I think at least at the time of us recording, 25% off.
Worth it.
Yeah, totally. So good news for people who maybe slept on that for a little bit and were on the fence about it, but, did download the original game. Hey, now you're good to go. It's a very small subset of our audience that A, likes Final Fantasy VII Remake, B, has PlayStation Plus. C, downloaded on PlayStation Plus. D, has a PlayStation 5. And then E, hasn't already paid the money.
Right.
Because, I mean, we could have taken advantage of that deal. Fuck.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
It's okay, though. It's worth it. I'm glad I have it. Also, speaking of online and video games and downloading, whatever, people, if you haven't already, it's the holidays. There are so many holiday sales out there. So as a public service announcement from Player 2, I want to remind everyone, get on the eShop, get on PlayStation Network, get on Xbox Store, and look around because there's a lot of amazing video games on deep discount right now.
Oh yeah. And I will say this, someone pointed out that a lot of Atlas titles on the 3DS eShop are on sale for like under $10. So
That's true,
like
yeah.
your Shin Megami Tensei 4, Apocalypse, Digital Devil Saga, all that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of these games you're not going to get for super cheap physicals, so
Not
this
at
might
all.
be the way to go, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was surprised to learn that they were still supporting the 3DS eShop.
yeah, they have been. Whenever I go online, I'll have to filter it out if I'm not looking for 3DS games, but they're up there and they're prominent, so
Yes.
they're still supporting it, which is cool because I mean the 3DS in and of itself has a very robust library, and while I do fully believe the Switch has pretty much basically killed it, there's a lot of folks out there still jamming on their 3DS. You know,
Yeah.
they haven't brought everything over to Switch. Where's Final Fantasy Fiat Rhythm?
Right.
All right. Speaking of PlayStation Plus, I don't know if it's going to be confirmed by the time this releases, but right now there's a rumor that Persona 5 Strikers may be coming to PlayStation Plus for January. I will
Nice.
totally play through that game again just to get some trophies.
I still need to beat it.
And plus, I know it'll load a lot faster than the Switch version. So yeah, if you still need to beat it, and it's been so long since you played it. Oh wait, you got the PlayStation version though? Didn't
Yeah,
you?
I got the PlayStation version.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I got the Switch version, so I might do this just to have an excuse to play it a second time, like I did with Hades and a bunch of other games on Xbox. So, love that. All right, and I think that covers news, but public service announcement, heads up for all you listeners out there. Next week's episode, I don't think we're going to edit either. Although, you know what? I probably will edit next week's episode because it's New Year's Day. I don't do anything on New Year's Day except for exist. So I think I will edit next week's. But what's big about next week's episode is, which will be January 2nd when it drops, we are going to be doing our top 5 games of 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Each. So you're going to get 10 games. Might be some overlap, but 5 from each of us, just so you know. And as a bonus, we're going to be giving our top worst / most disappointing games of the year. No cap on that number. Because for the most part, we aim to play good games. We're not critics.
Yeah. So my question for you this year is, because last year I kind of fucked up, is it just games that released in 2021?
It is just games that released in 2021. However, like Hades, if you played it on Xbox, if you really want to go there, that technically is a 2021 game.
Okay.
But it needs to have released in 2021.
I played a lot of 2021 games this year, so it should be fine.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've also played a lot of crappy 2021 games, so that'll
People
be fun.
talked a lot of shit about this. I've been hearing people talk a lot of shit about gaming this year.
Uh-huh.
I think it was pretty good.
No, I think if you compare it directly to 2020, you can see the gap. Because nothing really lit me on fire in 2021 the way that several fucking games lit me on fire in 2020.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
Final
let's go through
Fantasy
the list.
Remake did come out.
Fucking Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Last of Us Part 2. Like the games that came, Animal Crossing, the games that came out in 2020 blew the pants off of all of us over and over. I felt like the whole year I was playing something just life-changing.
The whole year
and
was
this
just buying
year,
new pants over and over again.
Oh, I bought so many pants. So many pairs of pants. I had a whole Camaro, Jay's car, full of pants. I had to get. But no, this year I played definitely some great games, some wonderful titles that we're going to talk about. Some that didn't come out this year, but many that did. And yeah, I can't think of anything this year that really stands.
That's my daughter knocking on the door, guys.
Okay. All right. Should I pause the recording or should we let this ride?
so you do.
Maybe we'll let this ride.
Okay.
Getting a plate for mommy.
Daddy's got to finish recording, okay? Give me a hug. Give me a kisses.
I'm watching them.
Thank you.
like some kind of
I'm so proud of you
creepster.
for beating your first game, baby.
Because we're looking at each other on our phones.
Woohoo!
And it's adorable.
Love you.
He's a good dad. All right, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Awesome. I didn't pause the recording, so that's all in the show now.
Nice. Said it was going to be raw.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Okay. I think we're getting towards the end of the show, though. I think it actually will be a little shorter. So,
Yeah.
no listener questions this week. Happy holidays, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the time with your family and friends and loved ones. I want to ask you one question before we close, though. I just got to know this week, Derek, what you feeling?
I'm feeling JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. So for those of you that don't know, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an anime that's been airing for, oh boy, how long has the show been out? There was a version that came out in the late 90s, and this is recently just Part 6 of the JoJo's revival that started like early 2010s. It stars Jolene Cujo, who is the daughter of Jotaro Kujo from Part 3, the main protagonist.
Sure.
And yeah. And it's really dope. It starts out with her going to prison for some involuntary manslaughter, and she gets like her little stand powers, and she's trying to figure out what's going on in this prison, who's trying to kill her, who's trying to get to her dad. And it's just really cool. It's really cool. The JoJo's has always done this thing where their characters use their intellect in fights more so than their combat abilities. So
It's like chess.
exactly. So for instance, what's something that they did? There's a enemy that's basically comprised of water, and she made the enemy have to run over dry land, and it eventually kept getting dried out until it was just a head.
Oh.
And then that's how she defeated it. So
That's how water do. That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is really dope. It is not for kids, so don't watch it with your kids. And yeah, check it out.
Okay.
Start with part 1 if you really want to get into it. Honestly, I watched part 1, 2, most of 3, and then I skipped 4 and 5, and then I went to 6 because I was like, so many episodes to watch. I don't want to do it, and I did it because I didn't have to. It was beautiful. So that's what I'm feeling this week.
Great. I said I wasn't feeling anything when we were doing our notes, but I realized we didn't talk much about The Witcher Season 2. Did you finish?
Yes, I finished it.
You did? I didn't. I think I watched, how many? There's 8 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That first episode was really good.
Yeah, I was into it. I think I've watched 6 episodes.
Okay.
So I think I got 2 left. I like it. I really think that the actors that play Geralt and Ciri have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important because the relationship between Ciri and Geralt is extremely important. I'm even coming around on Yennefer. Yennefer just is not how I pictured her in my head. The way that I picture her in my head is more akin to the video game version. She's very cold and standoffish and kind of, I don't want to say supermodel-like, but she has this air about her like, it's going to take a lot to impress me. Don't fuck around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She has like this air of authority and strength. And Yennefer, because they did her whole backstory in the first season, there's this vulnerability about her and an unsureness. Like, she's definitely headstrong, and we're seeing a lot of classic Yennefer characteristics come out in her in season 2. But the actress is so good at, displaying a wider range of emotion that Yennefer typically classically plays close to her chest. And just the look of her, in a lot of the vulnerable positions that she's been in, I have sometimes trouble accepting her as like my Yen, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That said, she's a fantastic actress, and she does a really good job on the show. And I mean, Dandelion shows up; he's great. So
yeah, when he showed up, I was like, yes,
yeah. And I love the little jab. Somebody like told a really long story to basically say I hate his music.
Right.
I was like, you didn't hear Toss a Coin from season 1? That shit's dope.
Right.
But I'm having a good time with it, and I'll likely finish it this week. But again, like I said earlier, I think at the beginning of the episode, I'm really trying to space things out because oh my god,
this season is better if only that it's told chronologically. Because the first season was so hard to understand.
Did you
what
notice
time the characters were in?
Did you notice that through a character critiquing Dandelion songs, it was basically critiquing season 1?
Yeah.
That was really clever. I like that.
Uh-huh.
I love it when
like,
things do that.
Season 1 was all over the fucking place.
No Way Home did that a little bit. I'll say no more.
Okay.
I'll say no more.
Season 1 of The Witcher was like, yeah, Yennefer's here. But guess what? This takes place 100 years before.
It hurt my brain a little.
Geralt's even existence. And they don't tell you in the show, in the first season, when it takes place.
I mean, I kind of knew just because of like ancillary knowledge from the books and the games, but at the same time, I was still like, okay, so this has to have happened.
Right.
Okay, so then this would have.
If anything, can we get a like 30 years before?
Yeah, can you
like,
just tell us
something? Like I don't.
Can you give us a little title that says this part takes place in Chicago? Tell us something. Come on.
Right.
This winter.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, good stuff. I'm feeling that. I think that's a show.
That's a show, man.
That's a show.
Now I like it.
Again, this will be a day after Christmas at the very earliest that you could hear this, but I hope everybody had a great holiday, and I hope you have an awesome new year. We'll be talking to you again just after the new year to wrap up our favorite stuff from the year. Don't go nowhere. We're going to give a quick, brief ad for our sponsors at Anchor, and then we will let you know where you can find us. And this part is always awkward for me, so we'll see you in a second. We are back. We are back to tell you where you can find us this holiday season on the social medias and things. Derek, you got a store, an online store. It sells gamer goodies, also more. Where can people find you and that and you and that and things?
They can check out the eBay store at ebay.com/str/gamergoodies and more. I recently just picked up an awesome pickup of things. I got a movie replica of the Green Lantern battery from the 2011 movie.
Good stuff.
I got some awesome brand new Destiny figures. I just
got
sold
that Umbreon. That's really cute.
Yeah, Umbreon was dope.
I love Umbreon. He's cool.
Yeah, so all that stuff is available on my eBay store. You can check me out on Instagram at GamerGoodiesMore and on Twitter at goodies_more.
All right. Don't forget, we upload new episodes to our hub at anchor.fm/player2isnterthepod every single Sunday. But our podcast is also available on other platforms, including Breaker, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. One take, baby. Find us on the social medias, tiktok.com/@player2isenterthepod. And you put a lot of your pickups on TikTok, so that's cool.
Yep.
Facebook.com/player2isenterthepod. YouTube, Player2isentherthepodcast. Maybe one day we'll get enough subscribers to have our own like custom link, but not yet.
Yeah.
Subscribe, follow, like, put some comments in, share us around. If you like us even a little teensy bit, all of those actions super help us out, and we appreciate it. We really do.
Yep.
If you really want to help us out, we do have a Patreon.com/player2isentherthepod. You can contact us on those social medias, or you can email us directly at mcpaperstacks@gmail.com if you have listener questions, guest suggestions, feedback, etc. Personally, I'm on Twitter at Mike Peterson AL. Not doing a whole lot of tweeting lately. I feel like I mainly like to hang out on TikTok. Just know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Twitch streaming at twitch.tv/MC Paperstacks. Not doing a whole lot of streaming lately. I mainly be hanging out on TikTok. Just know that. Also, my YouTube channel for all my previous streams, MC Paperstacks Plays, if you want to check that out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show.
Uncut. Raw.
Ooh, baby.
Late night.
Skinamax. Remember that?
Yep.
Let's get off before we get in trouble.
All right.
That's what she said. Anyways, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will see you next week. Take care.
Peace. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Okay, bye.